6 most mysterious cases of animals that committed suicide. Bear that went on hunger strike to escape torture. This case was recorded in 2012 in China by a scientist from Singapore. Mr. Ng, a bear kept in a cage, refused to eat for 10 days until she died of starvation. The Chinese keep bears in tiny cages to harvest bile from their stomachs. The painful procedure is done at least twice a day. There are said to be other cases where bears in the cages have committed suicide out of frustration. It is a shocking fact that cases of animal suicide date back centuries. This case was reported in 1845 where a Newfoundland dog tried to drown itself by throwing himself in water. He was rescued several times. In his final and successful suicide attempt, he kept his head underwater intentionally for some time till he died. Today there is a mysterious bridge in Scotland, the Overtown Bridge, where more than 50 dogs have committed suicide by jumping off it. In 2005, shepherds were baffled when a herd of about 1,500 jumped over a Turkey cliff. 450 of the animals died while the rest survived because they fell on the pile on the dead sheep. The sheep collectively belonged to 26 families. 61 pilot whales made the news in November 2011 when they killed themselves at Farewell Spit Beach in New Zealand. Tourists discovered the pod of whales. 18 of the whales at the time were still alive. They underwent euthanasia conducted by the Department of Conservation. At first, the survivors were expected to swim back to the ocean at high tide, but they kept swimming back to shore, forcing Doc to end their suffering. The only theory developed to explain this suicide was that the whales followed a sick member of the pod that was swimming to shallow waters to die. In the 1960s, Kathy, a dolphin, featured on the television show Flipper, killed herself. Richard O'Barry, an animal specialist, witnessed the death. He says Kathy swam into his arms, took one breath and never breathed again. When Richard let go of her, she sank in the water tank. Near Lauterbrunnen, a Swiss village in the Alps, 28 cows jumped over a cliff in a span of 3 days. Scientists were amazed by this unusual event. It is common for cows to accidentally fall to death over cliffs in this region. However, it was odd for them to land in one spot. Reports claimed that thunderstorms experienced in the area might have frightened the cows to the extent they committed suicide.